Welcome to my YouTube channel, Surowicz Watercolor. If you haven't already, be sure to click on the icon in the lower right hand corner to subscribe to my channel. In this quick tip, I'll demonstrate an easy way to make clouds in watercolor, and this will be for a partly cloudy day. For this demonstration, I'm working on an 8 by 10 inch sheet of 140 pound cold press watercolor paper, and my board is at an incline of about 20 degrees. I'll be using cerulean blue to do this demonstration. I'm going to begin working wet on dry. I'm using a round wash brush, and I have about a middle value mixture of cerulean blue. And you can see that I'm just liberally applying the blue just randomly in my workspace here. So I just want to give the suggestion of some areas where there's some clouds and other areas where there's going to be blue sky. And right now it's very hard edged. And because I'm working wet on dry, the paint is going to stay pretty much where I apply it with my brush. Now I'm going to take a spray bottle with a fine mist and I'm going to soften these edges. It's important that your spray bottle have a mist rather than a coarse spray. And you can see I'm softening these edges and I'm leaving some whites and lights, and I'm leaving some other areas where there's the cerulean blue. There's no secret to the pattern of the whites and the cerulean blue areas. I just apply paint until I have what I feel is a pleasing effect. And I'll come back in and I'll apply some more cerulean blue. Because I started wet on dry and then started to spray it with a fine mist spray, I slowly transitioned from wet on dry to working wet on wet. So now my paper's saturated and any paint I apply is going to start to diffuse. And because I'm working at an incline, gravity is going to start to pull it down. But I have plenty of time to make adjustments because now my paper is saturated. Another technique that I'm using here is to blot with a tissue. You'll notice me picking up excess moisture, and also I'll use it to lift pigment in an area where I want to have a little bit more of the white coming through. I continue this process of adding pigment and spraying with a fine mist spray bottle, blotting with a tissue, until I get a result that I'm happy with. It's a pretty forgiving process. The one thing to keep in mind as this dries, it's going to get much lighter, so don't be afraid to bring in a fairly strong mixture of cerulean blue. Cerulean blue isn't real dark value by itself anyhow, so you're not going to end up with too dark of a value really. But this is, as I said, it's a pretty forgiving process, and you have some time to experiment till you get a result that you like. And here is my partly cloudy sky after it's thoroughly dried. Now I'm going to do another short demonstration on how you might incorporate this technique into your painting process. So here I've drawn a very simple composition. Here's some mountain shapes that I've drawn, and I've indicated that they could be reflecting down in some water. So let's say these are some mountains that are right on the edge of a lake, and I want to have a partly cloudy sky, and it's going to reflect down into the water. So I'm going to start by turning my board upside down for this example because I want to maintain the clean edges where the mountain shapes are. So I'm applying my cerulean blue just as I did in the first demonstration. I have a bit of a smaller brush. I'm still doing this on an 8 by 10 inch sheet of paper, and again I'm still at a 20-degree incline. So I'm randomly applying my cerulean blue, and I want to make sure I get some of that blue along the edge of the mountaintop so that I have some contrast there and help define the edge of that mountain as a lighter shape. And I've just applied my cerulean blue, and I'm working wet on dry, and now I'm going to take my fine mist spray bottle and I'm going to soften those edges just as I did in the first demonstration. And as I do this, I'm trying not to spray the paint up into the mountain shapes. I want to maintain that edge, so I'm actually spraying in a manner that's pointing down and helping the paint flow away from that mountain edge with the assistance of gravity, because I'm at an incline. And now I'm going to come back in and I'm going to strengthen that blue in a few areas. And I'll do this just as I did in the first example until I'm pleased with the result that I have. And just as in the first example, I have time to work because now my paper is saturated and I can add some color. I can blot it with a tissue. I can spray it with a spray bottle, soften the edges. The one thing I want to be careful is I don't get a lot of water buildup anywhere with a bead so that it starts to backwash somewhere. So I need to maintain my moisture content at a level that I'm comfortable with. And here I flip the board back over, and even though I'm getting a little bit of running into my mountain, that's not a big deal. I can blot that up. That's where I sprayed and it got some of that paper wet on the mountain. But this is where I'm suggesting that this blue is reflecting into the water. So if I were going to start a painting that had mountains and water and sky like this, this might be the approach that I would take, where this is going to be my first layer. Now I'm going to build values on top of it. So just as I did in the sky, I'm actually painting the reflections in a similar manner. So it's just not going to have quite as much going on in it, but I've softened it with the spray bottle. I'm going to blot it with the tissue, and that'll give me my reflection into the water. Here I'm going to blot a little bit of that color that ran into my mountain with a tissue. It's not a big deal. And now I'm going to thoroughly dry this. So I've rotated this back around, and you can see now I have my kind of partly cloudy sky above the mountains, and I have that color reflecting down into the water. If this were a painting that I was doing, I would continue through my painting process, starting to build layers and develop this painting to completion. And that's a quick tip for painting a partly cloudy sky in watercolor. If you want to see more of my videos or find out more about my online courses, you can click on one of the boxes on the screen. I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching.